Welcome everyone. It is day one, event number 2 for the Strongmen. It's the 2023 Rogue Invitational, and we're back here at the Tailgate show. I'm honored to be joined by Dr. Bill Crawford, just like we were last time. Strongman historian, stone lifting legend. We got Jerry Pritchett, 6-time world's strongest man competitor, beast with the deadlift, and then Magnus for Magnuson. I mean, come on, 4-time world's strongest man, 2-time Europe's strongest man, and 7-time Iceland's strongest man. So we got the expert here. Gentlemen, welcome. Some quick opening thoughts. Magnus, let's start with you.
Well, this next event is going to be really interesting, and I'm excited to see what happens. Testing has been done, a lot of testing to try to make sure it works right. And technique comes into play, how the athletes are going to position themselves. It's going to be similar to the truck pull, but still, you don't want to stop with that thing because it's really hard to get it started.
A little bit different. How about you, Jerry?
This is another iconic Rogue, strongman implement that they've built here. They have a ton of man hours in this whole implement. Just in the bullhead alone, the sheet metal bullhead, they've got over a week just building it. So anytime they build something like this new, everybody's excited to see how the athletes are going to go at it. So this is the anticipation for this is big.
Dr. Bill?
Well, I have 3 words for this: big, beautiful, and brutal. I mean, it's a work of art that looks like an absolutely maniacal plan to have to pull something.
Look at that.
We've talked about it. Not only that, it just doesn't have momentum. We're going to talk about things to compare it to. There's really not a lot to compare it to. Even when you talk about Conan's wheel to push that, the wheel of pain, that the drums had a little bit of give to them if you caught it just right. A truck pull, different. I mean, it's just there's nothing about it that's got anything to compare it to, really, which is a rogue way to do it. Do something original.
China Cho is in the audience right now to get a good on-site fan vibe experience.
Guys, it is absolutely insane over here. They had to move the Iron Bowl indoors due to weather, and it is standing room only. There are hundreds and hundreds of people here lined up to watch this event. You can't quite see the bull now because there are so many people, but it is enormous. It is 1,000 pounds. It is bigger than me, and I'm 5'8". That is massive. I cannot wait to see the energy of this crowd once this event gets rolling.
So let's put things in perspective here. This event right now is taking place in the concourse, under a roof, because Texas has not really been kind with the weather yesterday, and so they're taking precautions. So this thing was moved last minute, set up, tested over and over again to make sure that, exactly the right amount of friction. It should be just as difficult as it's supposed to be. They've been busting their tail to put on a great event, 80-foot pull, 1,000-pound weight, and like you said, Jerry, an absolutely gorgeous work of art from just the metal fabrication as well.
It's a beautiful piece of equipment that they've got a lot of man hours in. And then even once it's been built, like you just said, they've got a ton of time. Yesterday, putting this thing together, they built it back in the laydown yard, tested it there. Then they had to make the change and move it up on the concourse there. Then they spent a late night last night, early morning this morning, making sure this thing is going to be good to go.
It's going to be beautiful.
Everything changes, the surface it goes on, make sure everything's level and straight. And got Mateus
China,
up here.
we will talk to you a little bit later. Don't go anywhere. So who do we have first up here, gentlemen?
This is Mateus, and Mateus is, as Magnus said, probably one of the best in the world at this event. He's great with single leg pulling, getting the initial pull going. But again, there's no momentum, and they added a guide rope also to help, the arm over arm a little bit. Let's see if that will help. I believe this is a 1,000-pound implement.
Now, what do you think, Magnus, compared to a truck pull? Do you think you still want to be in the same positions of a truck pull to pull this?
I think you pretty much want to. You might not be able to go as far down as Kilikowski usually does.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see what he does, because his is one of his specialties, and he's usually got the perfect technique on this. He's got it moving.
He's moving pretty well.
Oh my gosh, that is not even real. Unbelievable movement.
He's biting in there.
Spining up a little bit.
Slows down a little bit. During the testing, just that first few steps really kind of allowed it to get moving.
Yep.
And then it didn't slow down as much, but with Mateus,
slow down there quite a bit because he had a pretty good momentum going.
That's still fantastic run so far.
Because normally in a truck pull, he would lean more forward, lie more forward, and to get the movement and keep it going.
Yeah.
And speed up.
Now I know, looking at this last night, from the area it's at on the concourse, about where he got slowed down.
Wow.
The concourse kind of grades up a little bit. So I think that might have been part of his slowdown there.
Oh, so it wasn't hard enough. They just made it harder.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But, like Pat said, we're at the mercy of the rain this week.
Yeah, you had to take it under. You would not want that track to be wet.
No.
Definitely not.
They had to make the decision yesterday because it rained so much yesterday just to be safe for today, because there's like 70% chance of rain right now, that get this thing under cover. That way this could still happen.
Well, that was 41 feet. Actually, I'll be honest with you, that's a shocking result, to be honest with you, because
so this is going to be
really hard to
beast.
implement. That was a hard pull, and he's the best at it. So I think we got a pretty good monitor of where we're going to go with this.
And you saw him afterwards just leaning against the wall like it was he emptied the tank.
He was not happy.
Yeah.
He's not happy with that performance. I can see that.
And reminder to everybody at home, there's a chat comment feature. You can post your questions and thoughts in there. We'll read them here for the panel on the show, get you all engaged.
What about the humidity, Magnus? We were talking about that wood on that steel. It kind of slows it down, and then it got even more humid. It's rained off and on.
What it does, it just makes it stick so much more. And it makes it harder. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody beats that. But again, Mateus never got into his favorite position to be able to pull that. He was really upright, which is unusual to see him do.
If you were coaching one of these athletes, what would you tell them to do?
But the thing is, you gotta be in a perfect position, push your hips in, so your back end is not too much in the air, and use your legs drive and the hands all combined.
As you look at right now, this shot of it, see where the anchor points are. They're so low that if you're high, you're going to be pulling up on that implement. So you're wasting energy that's not going forward.
Gotcha.
You're wasting pulling up on it. So like Max said, the hips have got to be low to get that power to go to the ground and go forward and not waste anything pulling up on that implement.
Well, I think the athletes are, they kind of know those keys, but watching this, as guys come on and they maybe pick up on some of the technique and possibly the mistakes, we definitely saw that with the deadlift, because I think, athletes were able to sort of go, okay, I use my time a little more wisely. How do I pull on this? Put a little more tension in the bottom of the pull.
There's always an advantage of going last, right, after some guys have win.
Well, I think also whoever did it last year had an advantage.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. Anybody doing it for the first time, it kind of shocked them how it operates.
Yeah.
But for this, everybody's the first time, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the first for everybody here.
That's the best part about it.
And it's shocking everybody because it doesn't act like a normal truck pull would do. It just, it's throwing people off. You can see that with Mateus. It's like he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, even from watching Shaw test it, it's different than even if you were just pulling a sled out in the parking lot that was free. Being it's on that track, I know, Shaw, if he sidestepped a little bit, the thing would bind.
Yeah.
Because it would pull it a little bit.
That's
And
a good point.
there's guide wheels on the inside that help that, but it's so massive and heavy, and on that wood, it's still going to bind it a little bit. So if you want to stay in as straight a line as possible.
And you don't want that thing to stop. You just gotta keep the momentum on it.
Yeah.
And so with as heavy as that is, and I can have to assume there's so much friction, both the harness and the rope, is it safe to assume if it was just the harness, this thing ain't moving? You need harness and rope?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a wise move to have a guide rope.
Yeah, because
No
you can
question.
see with Mateus there, I don't think he would have got maybe half that distance without that guide rope.
Also, too, the guide ropes, they're especially made by Rogue, so that they don't pull and stretch. And athletes, as they go, kind of got that slack in the rope. So they have an inner rope and then the outer rope that binds it up. So that's another modification that they made to allow this to be a good event.
Yeah, we're seeing some good starts.
Wow.
And there again, it bound up a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of got stuck there.
Oh, man.
See, that's
like
about where that
Mateus.
concourse starts to grade up a little bit.
Yeah. And you can actually see every time he pushes his hips down, he does get a little momentum. a little better push
Yeah.
from his hips.
But because it stops, you can't get that momentum. You can't get into right position. And, actually he's too upright to be able to use his power.
Yeah.
I can tell you this is the longest minute possible.
Right.
This
Yeah,
is
no
unbelievable.
joke.
I mean, he's got massive arms. He's pulling with everything he's got. Oh, that's a good
That was
position.
a good lean,
This
huh?
is a hard
He's
pull.
giving it everything he's got.
Using that full minute.
You got to use all the time you have.
Yeah, you got to go after it.
Wow. And it's pretty dead still over there. We walked through that area and it is dead still. There's not a lot of air, so there's some conditions there also.
So there's a potential, there's an 80-foot track. We might not need it all.
No. If anybody pulls the whole track,
as of yet,
we're
we
going to be
have not.
jumping up and down, I'll tell you that. That's
Yeah.
going to be amazing.
I was really surprised Mateus didn't go further on that.
Well, but in the end, it might be the one.
Yeah, it might be a good.
The points are
good
the
distance.
points.
Yeah. Hopefully it's good points for him. I mean, he needs it after the deadlift.
Yeah.
The thing is, going first is always difficult. But like in my case, if I go first in an event, I would do everything. It was die or what, because I knew I was making a mark for everybody else.
Yeah.
It would make me try harder than going after somebody where I knew the mark.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you want to set that mark as high as possible.
Oh, definitely.
How heavy is
Make
this?
them guys
go.
Look
work.
at this whole crew.
Yeah, we got 1, 2,
Pulling
3,
and
4, 5,
pushing.
The
6,
eastern
7,
wing of the stadium pushing it back.
8 guys.
Yeah. And I can tell you that several of those are lifters and big,
Right,
strong
Big
exactly.
guys too. Yeah.
This is not a regular crowd of men.
No, no, no.
Well, that crew has been working really, really hard.
Yeah.
And the hours they spent yesterday and today on that sled to make it work.
I mean, that was the cool thing, as we all know about Rogue. You had the potential of weather coming in, all this stuff happened, and everyone in the road crew was like, it doesn't matter what Mother Nature throws. This thing's going down. We
Well,
are going to have this
Gonna
event
make it
happen.
That's what they said. We're crowning champions this weekend,
Yep.
so we're going to find a way to make it happen.
Come
This is
hell or high
perfect.
water.
That's
we're
it.
You have to commend Rogue for everything they put into this to make this happen and to make it as fair and perfect for the athletes as possible.
And Jerry is absolutely right. Rogue have outdone themselves again with an implement that they made.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anybody that's a welder, fabricator, you work construction, you know what kind of time it takes to make all this stuff. There's a lot of man hours to build this stuff.
Well, they don't make anything small.
No, and everything's,
No.
everything's big and built to high quality.
Yeah.
And artistic. I mean, every time it's just got
It's a piece of art. I mean, look at that. Look at that. A sheet metal bullhead, that has got, almost probably 100 hours in it.
You got a metal bowl, a harness, and a mouth guard. You know you got a good time's about to happen right here.
The bull pull. So Luke's getting up.
Well, Luke Stoltman he's been in the game for a long time.
Strong legs.
Strong legs.
Massively strong legs.
If he
Yeah.
manages to
Big
use
squat.
the legs, he should get a good result.
Yeah, if he can get low and put that power to the ground.
See if he hits that same sticky point.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
There's kind of 2 in a row where that thing is slowed down.
Yeah.
It's-
If anybody's ever pushed like on a like in a parking lot or something, if training or even a competition, pushing or pulling, it's imperceptible that all of a sudden the asphalt changes grade by the tiniest bit and it stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a good point.
You can't even see it.
Yeah.
So to have everybody stick at the same place, that's the spot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the spot.
Like I said, you could see it yesterday. There was a little bit of a grade there, but you're at the mercy. I mean, this was the only area in this stadium of concourse that this could go because it's so massive.
It is what it is, but again, it's the same for everybody.
But it's the same,
Yes,
exactly. It's the same for
100%.
everyone. So let's see,
Same
let's see who the strongest is to pull it out of that hole. There he goes. Stay low, Luke. Here you go.
Wow, great start. Okay, he's coming up on that sticking point.
There it
Oh,
is.
it's
There it is.
There it is.
Oh, and the pain starts.
Yeah, then it becomes a real fight.
He's fighting for every inch, every foot. He's not even quite halfway for time.
He's not able to use his legs, really.
Yeah.
Come on, Luke. Wow. Just a whole body pull, using the upper body.
Yeah.
Massive arms.
Pull
back,
the arms and push the hips through.
legs.
Oh,
When you get into that position, you're actually using your arms more than your legs, really.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so close to overtaking Maxime. He's right there.
about 10 seconds left.
Just another couple
Close.
of feet. Oh, my gosh.
Another
He's
burst.
completely spent. That is amazing. What a great effort.
Great effort.
What a
My
great effort.
goodness.
Wow.
Legs are cashed.
Well, that just shows you how good Kielikoski is in that.
There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Yep. 10 feet. That's a huge 10 feet. These are the biggest, strongest strength athletes that could be pulled together, and they're struggling with this event. I like that.
Well, Luke came off really good, looking good,
Yep.
in a pretty good position for the pull. And when it started slowing down,
Yeah,
and
once he gets that
then he
spot.
started coming up.
Yeah, yeah. Once he pops up, and then you start pulling up on the implement, you're not putting much power forward.
I wonder if it's maybe some of the friction, not only, you get a little more tired, but is it friction that builds in the implement itself against the rails, and that maybe that's part of it? Or is it that, there is an imperceptible grade, but I mean, the rails are flat. You can't have them not be flat. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but there's so much weight on them, so those rails are going to follow the contour of the ground they're on.
Yeah.
Because that tubing, as long as it is, as heavy as everything, it's going to follow the same
Okay.
contour.
Well, there you go.
Well, every floor like that usually has like a slight grate, so water will run away
Right.
on it.
Yeah.
Wow. And if you say, we just move it,
And-
where?
and all these-
it would just, it's like paying the devil one place and not, at least they can get a start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was just, because of the weather, they're at the mercy, and this was the only place in the concourse that it could go, because it's so massive. It's just,
They kept it
is
dry
what it is.
overnight.
But like Max said, it's the same for everyone. So,
I think we've got a fan question coming in here. Let's see.
Huh?
All right, from Joseph O. I'm curious about the bull. How big is it? How heavy? How long did it take to fabricate? What type of steel is it fabricated from? Some of those I know, some of those I can take a shot at or have Jerry give his best guesses since he's a steel fabricator. But for some dimensions, it weighs 1,000 pounds. The track's 80 feet long. It's 108 inches long, the bull, 66 inches tall, and 86 inches wide. Those are the dimensions. So it's a beast. It's huge. Now, how long would it take to fabricate something like that? I got no idea.
just the bullhead itself, I was talking to him last night, the sheet metal bullhead, they've got about 80 hours. It's just in the sheet metal bullhead.
Wow.
It's made out of 18-gauge coil roll.
Amazing.
The actual dimensions of the bullhead, I don't know exactly, but I would say the span of the horns is probably at least, 7 foot at
Yeah.
least?
Oh,
Wow.
easy. Easy.
And that's just the bullhead. I just heard in my ear that they've been working on not just the bullhead, but the whole implement itself for about 3 months.
Yeah, the whole implement, because, that's just that's just
Right.
something to make it look cool.
Right.
That big timber frame, that is the body of the bull, and then all that tubing for that track, there's a lot of work, and there's months and months of work in all of this.
There's a lot of material in that as well.
A lot of material. A lot of lumber building that timber, and then a lot of steel with all that track, because that track is doubled up tube on each side rail, and then the floor that's got the webbing, the attachment underneath, and then all that rubber matting to make. They try to simulate on the wheel of pain that same kind of layered shingle. Like, like how shingles are done on a roof, they overlap them,
lays
but they
like
did that
that.
with a rubber. You see the edges there. That way they're trying to give the athlete something to get a hold of.
Yeah, a little bit of traction to
Yeah.
catch on to.
I would have to assume for this event, weight is your friend, being a bigger athlete. Have we seen one of the bigger athletes
This
go
is
yet?
one of
or
our
still
bigger
pending?
guys.
Okay.
Between Evan, Trey Mitchell, Tom Stolman, they're going to have a little advantage on body weight. Oh, there he goes. Let's see.
Good foot movement. Got his hips down
He's
really well.
trying to dig in there.
There it is.
Got the spot.
He looks better than most, maybe.
Well, if he can stay low, because like Magnus was saying, right at that sticking point, last couple athletes have popped up, and he's starting to do the same.
Yeah.
He's only halfway through, and he's got, you know, what,
He's
6
very
or 7
upright.
feet.
He's losing most of his power there.
Yeah, because he's pulling up on that frame. So he's mainly, what he's gaining right now, he's gaining from his arms.
He's at 30 feet. He's still got 20 seconds left to pull. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Every athlete is given everything they've got.
He's at 35 feet.
Oh, come on, 7 inches. Come on. Come on, Evan. Come on. Oh, last pull.
All right.
Wow.
Mateus's time is looking better and better.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That was amazing. I mean, these guys are just putting out
Everything.
absolutely every ounce of their being into this.
But it's almost identical to, like Magnus was saying, the last 3. When it gets to that sticking point, they pop up, and then they're not putting the power to the ground anymore. You know, like last little bit he gained was just what he was getting from his arms, like standing up like that. Because then what he's pulling from his hips, he's pulling up. Where, like Magnus was saying earlier, you need to be planked out where you're pushing your hips to the ground.
I think we'll get another question coming in from the fans here. This is from Marissa W. How much do you think the awkward and heavy deadlifts earlier affected them here?
Oh, it definitely takes some away from it, you know, but at this level, you're used to doing, you know, an event like that and then, you know, something after. So they've had a couple hours to recover. So, I mean, it does take a little bit away, but
they were ready.
This level, you know how to recover, you know how to get ready for the next one. I mean, what do you say, Magnus?
Oh,
I mean,
exactly. You know, they're not out of breath or anything, you know, this long after the deadlift, so they should have recovered pretty fine.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, everybody goes through the same thing, and so is equal for everybody.
Yep.
But this pull is proving to be really, really tough.
Very tough.
As somebody who's never done anything like this, you know, I watch the athletes at the end of event 1, Tower Power, minute of deads at 900 pounds, and usually when they failed their last deadlift, it was stand up, can't do it, and they walked off. This is like total systemic devastation, fall on the ground, hyperventilating, I need assistance walking away.
Yeah.
Is this one, is it just the cardiorespiratory part of it, or is this going to hit them harder than a minute of deads at 900, you think?
The thing is, you're pretty much trying to use every muscle you have in your body. And all these muscles take a lot of oxygen. Now, then the muscle starts running out of oxygen. Your lactic acid starts to build up. And that's when you get out of form. That's when you start, you know, doing something else because the muscles don't want to do what you want them to do.
Right.
Well, when you say probably Kielakowski's conditioning probably helped him on something like this to be able to stay in position a little longer than maybe some other guys, you know, some of the bigger guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, strength endurance actually has, it's funny because strength endurance, a lot of times, you'll just hit a wall. Like, you know, you can, you know, like a deadlift, maybe you can kind of gut out that last little bit. You know, you can kind of pull it out. These guys are just stopping, and that's it. You know, their strength endurance is done.
Yep.
The lactic acid's built up. You know, if you believe in that. And then
usually you can go, and a strongman can go full out, flat out, for about 40 minutes. Normal time is about 40 seconds, sorry, in a truck pull or something like that. After that, you get really fatigued really fast.
Falling off, yeah. Thomas Evans up next. We'll see if he comes from football.
right.
There's a big
That's
football
exactly what I was
program.
thinking about.
Done a lot of sled push and pull, I'm sure, in his past, and moving linemen.
Oh,
Yep.
that might help here.
Yeah, we'll see if how far he can move this bull.
You remember that that Pure Strength in '89? They had a rugby sled.
Yep,
That was you did it.
I did
You
it.
were
You
there.
did that.
You were there.
So,
We thrust the Americans. They got stuck on the way.
we won't talk about any more of that whole event. Nothing about Sterling Castle, all right?
Yeah.
If Bill Kazmaier's listening.
He's
he didn't
not
get as
looking
good a
good for
start.
the beginning there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's too much side to side.
Yeah.
You got to put that power straight forward, straight line. Yeah, he's too much back and forth.
I think his foot placement's a bit out.
It's too wide.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, in a truck pull, if you have your feet too much apart, when you're pulling, you start falling to each side. So you gotta have your footing pretty close to each other. And is, you know, and just like make it as smooth as possible.
It looked like the previous athletes had not only their feet close, but like quick choppy steps almost.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Rain's back.
I think there's a little bit more of the side to side than you probably would understand on this event. So if his feet are out, that gives him more of that side to side as opposed to being in the middle of the track.
About 5 seconds left, 3 seconds.
Well, like Mac was saying, you want that narrow foot, just that short, choppy steps where you're putting the power to the ground, and then the next one's following with it, you know.
Every one of these athletes are just so spent.
And then on this implement, especially if you're doing that side to side, you're pulling that frame back and forth too, and you're binding it up back and forth.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything forward.
No, you're not helping yourself with that.
No, you're
definitely not.
You just made it more difficult on yourself.
And for all the fans watching at home, it is now a downpour outside, which is exactly why
This is why it's in here.
planned ahead, and this is indoors right now.
Yep.
This is
Very
a
smart
Great call.
Yep.
Exactly halfway through this competition, the rain's pouring.
Yep.
This is the best call of the weekend.
We would be rained out right now. We'd have to wait. You
Yep.
know, the other athletes that are warmed up, ready to go, would have to, you know, come back later or you know, when the thing dried up. So it was a great call on Rogues Park to do the extra work, to put it up here on the concourse.
I mean, they completely built it,
Right.
and they completely dismantled it, and they completely rebuilt it
Yeah.
in another place.
And you can see the fans right next to this event, and we actually have China Cho intermingled with them to kind of get their feel of what's going on.
And I mean, this cruise.
Hey guys, this is China Cho. I am here with Ben from England. He has been watching this strongman competition very fiercely since it started. Ben, where are you from?
All the way from England, yeah, overseas. Traveled all the way here to watch Rogue Invitational, Strongman and CrossFit, and loving it so far, loving it.
Okay, if you had to pick an event between the Tower of Power or this Iron Bull pull, which would you prefer to do?
I'd probably like to give the bull pull a go because it looks ridiculously heavy and hard. I think I'd struggle a little bit more with the deadlift, the Tower of Power. So yeah, I'd probably give this awesome Rogue bull a biggest pull I can.
And if you think that you could fight any one of these strongmen and win, who would you choose to battle?
I'd probably just choose the most ridiculous one and just put myself up against Tom Stoltman. Why not? The biggest and heaviest guy, so just give myself a challenge.
Just like the strongmen, go big or go home. Ben is the man. How's the energy here at the Rogue Invitational?
Yeah, amazing. Good vibes, we'd say, in the UK. Very good vibes, good atmosphere, loads of people here watching, and yeah, amazing fan experience so far.
Well, we are so happy to hear that, and we can't wait for the rest.
Thank you.
Thanks, China. Much appreciated. We'll be checking back in with her over the course of the day. And yeah, and international crew watching around the world and flying out. I've met a bunch of people that this was like their destination strength, fitness, power vacation that they planned for the year.
I think it's really exciting to see how much the sport has grown overall, and especially here in the States. You know, to see a competition like this and people traveling that far to see it, you know, and I know just myself, what I've been a part of it, to see it grow, it is a lot of pride in that. I can imagine, Magnus, you guys really paved the ground, you know, for this. It's got to be cool to see.
Oh, it's unbelievable to be able to witness the sport grow. You know, when I started out in this sport, we had none of the equipment. We just trained in the gym, did something in the gym to symbolize the movements and whatnot, and we just showed up and competed. A lot of times I didn't even know the events I was showing up to compete in. But now everybody's got a set of atlas stones and this and that. They're specialized. This is turned into a special sport by itself. Yep. And there's no wonder these athletes are getting stronger and moving bigger things.
But you were great at, Magnus, you were great at actually figuring out the events. And we've had we have probably talked 100 hours about that topic. You know, how you would go to places and figure these things out.
I know.
Because you didn't know what was going to do it. You had to figure it out on the fly.
We'll stay a little time.
Wasn't the start I was expecting from Tom.
No, I expected a better start. That was similar to. Now, you think with the rain coming in, I know it's not wet there, but with the humidity, Could be change in this thing.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, being the last 3 rounds, we've seen such a change in the start where other guys were starting it really well.
Maybe so. It's definitely humid, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Plus, he's not really using the rope instead of really reaching out on the rope.
And he's getting higher.
He lost his shoe.
Lost his shoe.
Oh, that's not going to help.
That's bad.
Oh, that sucks.
But he's fighting the whole way.
Well, I mean, he's got 1 foot on the ground now. I mean,
yeah,
that is really tough. Tough break.
That's actually tough to watch.
Yeah.
And because of that, surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, that was a shock, and then that sucks to see something like that where equipment failure, shoe comes off, and not even be able to have a fair go at finishing it. I feel bad for him.
Because I've seen him do well, especially remember the when we did the train push.
Train push. He's done good on the wheel of pain before.
Yeah.
He's a good truck puller.
Yeah.
I was expecting way more here.
Has the power to do it, but I mean, you know, other thing, you know, doing it on this mat like a truck pull, you wear rock climbing shoes.
Yeah.
You know, where this is kind of a guess on what's going to be the best footwear on this rubber mat.
And his shoes seem to be really slipping on it as well.
Yeah, I don't think he was getting any bite out of those shoes. I think on this, you almost maybe want something maybe a little knobby to get a hold of that rubber.
Right.
Are heavy sled pulls just a common part of training?
Yeah, whether it drags or pushes, I mean, they're great finishers work anyways, you know, for some cardio and some, you know, extra legs at the end. So I know I finished a lot of Strongman Saturdays just pulling a tire. Whether I pull it down and then, you know, drag it backwards back. You can do rows with it. A lot of things you can do with, you know, a sled or something or a drag like that. Just good conditioning work, really.
Even a push, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can do all sorts of things with a sled that helps with your conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alexi's not the tallest athlete, so advantage or disadvantage?
Biggest thing is he gives up a lot of body weight, but like Maggie's been saying, if he can stay low and put that power, because he's powerful, he's plenty powerful enough to do this.
World's strongest man.
If he can put the power forward and down where his hips are pushing down towards the ground and not up in the air and pulling up on the implement, it's going to be probably the biggest key for him.
We've seen him win a truck pull on World's Strongest Man.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah, he's
okay.
Yes.
He's more than capable of crushing this.
A lot of times Alexei never seems to amaze me. Yeah, he reminds me of myself, how I used to do things.
Kind of come up with something.
Yeah, he's always thinking.
Yep.
He's always trying to figure out a way.
Yeah, you can tell he's methodical right there. You can tell he's going through this right now in his head. He's watched the other guys go, seen their mistakes.
Have you ever seen him when he goes to a thing, deadlift or whatever, he walks up, he touches the implement. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just trying to connect with the implement before he lifts it.
Yeah.
He's got his own kind of thing. He gets in his own zone.
Yep.
Well, this would be a great event for him to make a move and, you know, push up on the leaderboard.
Yeah, it'd be good points for him. He can have a good.
Because I think the next event will be very good for him.
Yeah, should be.
Well, there's important points here to get.
Yep.
And you can tell how humid it is. Look at the judges, the
everybody's
athletes,
soaked.
everybody just absolutely just sweat. It's tough. I don't know about you guys, but I love. I always got accused as an organizer of everything's heavy. They're like, "Oh, Crawford's doing it. It's going to be heavy." I love that.
I'll tell you one thing. I used to come out to World's Strongest Man or whatever with a bag just of all sorts of shoes. So if we were pulling, I would put on shoes and test the track and see, okay, I'm choosing these ones now.
Yep.
Yeah, when it comes to this stuff like this, I mean, it's like a race car on, you know, the tires that you run on the track. They're very important, you know, for your grip. Our footwear is extremely important because you can have all the power in the world, but if you're not putting it to the ground, it's not going to do any good.
A little bit slower. He's got 10 feet.
Slower start.
Yeah.
His foot kind of turned that one pull. He started out, then you can see that foot kind of like buckled.
Wow.
That's a hard pull.
It's definitely, body weight helps as well, and being tall.
Yeah, he's giving up a lot of body weight to some of these guys.
So the smaller, more conditioned athlete, possibly a truck pull, allows them to get momentum and to keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like Magnus said, we've seen him win bus pulls at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah. I thought he actually would get it right because he is slightly smaller, slightly shorter, and he might be able to stay low. Maybe if you go too low on this, you lose your traction.
You see on a couple of them, he's trying to push his hips through like you were talking, but he's just not. The thing is just.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. It's just not moving.
The first year we had the Wheel of Pain, he actually won.
Yeah.
He had a little alternative technique where he put his head under the implement, but it still, he still won. So he's great at strength endurance. This just was a bit much. Super intense atmosphere also. I mean, you got the athletes are competing, and just several feet away, right in front of them, are the people watching. And they're in this closed space. I bet the noise is incredible there.
That's a lot of motivation right there.
That is a lot of motivation.
So as soon as you stop, I've seen some of them, they got misstep, so one foot is in front of the other.
Yeah.
If you stop, plant both your feet.
Back square again.
Yeah, and push. So like starting again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if there were any specific rules or regulations with the footwear that you could use, if you could use spikes.
No spikes.
No spikes.
spikes.
No spikes. I mean, you'd want.
Because you mentioned the track shoes earlier.
I think you'd want something not spikes, but like something knobby that's got some tread to it. Not because some of these guys will come out with stuff that's looks pretty smooth, like Tom's look pretty smooth. Which normally like on a normal truck pull, if you were out in this parking lot here on the asphalt, you'd want a rock climbing shoe. It's gonna be your best.
Yeah.
Sometimes with the rain and humidity, they can reach that slight film of moisture.
Well, I'm wondering, with this rains come in and the humidity's probably up
Right.
even more, and we're seeing these last few getting less. If we're not maybe seeing this thing binding up more, I don't know.
I was about one of the first to figure out bringing rock climbing shoes into truck pulling.
Well, nobody thought of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody thought of it.
Where did you find those? You just went to a sporting goods store and went, hey, wait a minute.
Well, if you look back, at that area, I mean, guys were using like work boots and all kinds of odd, tennis shoes, and you were the first one that paid attention that footwear is important.
Oh yeah,
depending on what
definitely.
the event is.
And I would go walk around like moving my feet, touching. So I would heat the
Test
shoes
the
up.
traction.
I would heat the shoes up before I went.
Yeah. Well, I always even like a yoke or a frame carry. I've always liked Vans, the skateboard shoes. They're wide. They got a good footprint on the ground. There's no squish like a basketball shoe or something like that. So because you got something heavy on your back or in your hands, you can't have that squish. You want to put everything to the ground. And I always like a nice flat footprint.
We'll see how Mitchell does. 5 years ago, he was actually running marathons.
Really?
No, I kid you not.
You are no way.
Like full out, 26.2 miles.
I did not expect to hear that.
He ran marathons. And then he was a bodybuilder.
He's another guy that's always thinking.
Very methodical.
Yep. He figures things out.
Yeah, so guaranteed he's been watching these other guys and trying to figure out what's going to be the best go at this.
Well, last year at the this year at the Rogue when he won, he was actually had the Steintossen. He actually had a point, and he went and looked at and put a towel down where he should stop to allow his throw and then his momentum to carry to not foul. And so, I mean, he was the only guy that did that.
Yeah.
And so that really shows his preparation, and he's always thinking, figuring out the events right up to the second.
Well, let's see if he picked the right footwear.
Now he's another one. I believe he won truck pull at World's Strongest Man, I think this year.
I think he did.
I think he did. He's starting off pretty well.
That is interesting. Well, he's not hit the sticking point yet.
But he's still pushing his hips forward.
Yeah.
You see that?
She's taking more of an upright approach as
he's
opposed
gonna
to
get
flanking
higher
out.
now. Now he's pretty
He
high.
should have started a bit lower and come out faster.
Yeah. And now he's really
Wow,
high.
this could be a big game changer on this event.
Very upright, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Lean down into it. You know, the next 3 or 4 feet could be huge points if he could possibly get 5 more feet.
He's got 15 more seconds.
5 feet keeps him right inside the competition.
This just shows you how hard this is. This is throwing everybody off,
Yeah.
pretty much.
He needs 2 more feet. He's got 6 seconds. Wow, this is, oh.
Wow.
I don't think any single athlete has left 1 ounce of anything in them. They've absolutely
everybody's
committed
left it
themselves
all out
completely.
there.
You know,
So
got himself a top 3 pull right there.
Yeah, put himself in third.
I said in the
Nice.
beginning I was surprised that Kilikoski didn't do better. I'm starting to rethink that now.
Yeah.
It's just that hard.
That was
It's just that hard.
that was a great pull.
Oh, awesome.
Mitchell would not give up.
Nope, no
He
quit.
just kept it coming, kept pushing, and just figured it out. At some point, there's all the technique and everything else, but then it just comes from inside of you to be able to give that last bit.
It looks devastating.
Wow.
And then 10 guys
You know,
push it back.
everybody goes into this with a plan. You got a plan. You know, this is your plan. It's like Mike Tyson said, you know, you get into the ring, you got a game plan. Like that game plan goes out of the window when you start getting hit.
Everybody's got a game
100%.
plan until they get hit in the face.
Exactly. We've actually got China Cho once again down with the fans, get to know who's enjoying themselves here at the Rogue Invitational.
All right, guys, this is China. I am here with Trisha. Trisha, is this your first time to the Rogue Invitational?
It is actually.
First time. Okay, so this is the first time that we've seen the iron bull pull. Describe it to me in 1 word.
Just putting your guts all out there. I can't have 1 word to describe it.
Put your guts out there. I mean, they're obviously doing that. So we've seen about 7 or 8 of these strongmen go. How would you describe the strongmen in 1 word?
They're strong.
They're strong. Okay, so this thing weighs 1,000 pounds. How many of your friends or gym members do you think it would take to get it across the field, this 1,000-pound bull? How many do you think?
Oh, probably it would be a team effort.
Team effort, and these guys are doing it as 1 person. It is so impressive. Are you having a good time so far?
I am. It's really fun.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, China. Looked like just a second ago, Brian Shaw was giving some tips and tricks there, whispering in his ear.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can get, you know, somebody that's already had a go at this.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Trey Mitchell, he's bigger than ever.
He
I've
is.
never seen him this big before.
Biggest
Now, is
ever
that
been.
going to affect him with the,
You know,
that's
power-wise,
interesting.
it should help him, but
Strength,
endurance-wise, I think
yeah.
it could hurt him. You know, I think he might tire out faster. But, well, I mean, it all depends on how much he's conditioned too. I know he's been posting, he's doing some heavy sled, you know, drags in the gym.
We're about to see if that
So we're
pays
gonna
off.
see if it paid off.
Right.
And you know, did he pick the right footwear?
Oh, he is strong as an ox as
Yeah.
well.
But
And,
if, you know, like you said, if you don't have the right footwear, it don't matter how strong you are, you can't put it to the ground.
Yeah.
It's funny because he's called the Big Thicket, and that's exactly where Mark Henry grew up. So what is going on in Southeast Texas where they're just having these mythically strong characters come out of the woodwork? Unbelievable.
The last guys we've seen, they haven't taken off real fast.
The starts have really
Did
slowed
they-
down.
Yeah.
Did they adjust that? Hooper's now in second?
Yeah, he wasn't third originally.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
must have
Wow.
calculated at the end there. So a great pull.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was good.
Right up against it.
All right, let's see.
So your first place finishers in the deadlift are going head to head.
Yeah.
Sort this thing out.
Separate that tie from deadlift.
Magnus, what's the hardest truck pull you've seen before? Or sled pull, just a pulling event like this.
I've pulled the biggest dump truck in the world. We didn't get it really far, but I got it moving. But we had a ladder bolted down, so you got pulled with your hands and feet. But as soon as the ladder was out, it didn't go much after that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Trey really stopped.
Wow, Trey is just really having a hard time.
yeah. He's
Wow, he hit the sticking point,
Wow.
and that was it. No kidding.
is that
Again, I think that just speaks to how head to toe systemically devastating
Very,
this
very
pull
difficult.
is.
did he just run out of energy there?
Yeah, I think he just
Yeah.
gassed out. And like we were talking, you know, the size is a lot of power, but, you know, all that mass takes up a lot of extra blood to push, you know.
It takes up a lot of your oxygen.
Yep.
But he's, you know, he's leaning in there.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good,
Great positions.
but it's just not transferring it into the forward motion. He just he's giving it everything. He's pushing his hips through, and
That is a 100% effort.
It just shows you how hard that is.
Do you guys ever find, I mean, you can replicate deadlifts, pulls, presses, carries, you know, whatever it happens to be in training, but it must be difficult to replicate the intensity that you're going to feel when it's competition day and everyone's standing there next to you. Did you ever find did you have like an amazing training buddy that would push you to that level, or were you guys training solo and then you found a whole nother gear, you know, like on game day?
I was always very fortunate to have really good training partners that push me, you know, support me, help load weights, you know, move equipment around, push me, you know, the days you got bad day and you're kind of dragging, they push you. But then on game days, I always elevated on game days. I mean, this is what you do it for, is to come show off, right?
Well, I would just train. I would always train lighter, a little bit lighter than I expected things to be. Never go to failure. Just always walk out of the gym or whatever, knowing I had a little bit more in the tank.
Yeah.
But I would do a lot of more sets rather than do it heavy
I see, okay.
to be able to be athletic.
A bit more volume of training.
Yeah.
But
and
you also competed a lot too.
I actually did, yeah.
You know, right? So, you know, you had almost, some of those were almost training days.
Well,
You do so many contests.
Yeah, a lot of the events I did, I looked at more as training because I didn't have a set of stones to train on. I didn't have a log to train on. And that was my event training. And I really only got serious once a year
That's
For the
amazing.
big one.
for the big one.
The big one.
And it paid off.
4
I was
times.
gonna say it worked. It worked.
Almost 5.
I should have been 5.
We were having that discussion yesterday about, you know, training volume, and I don't know if training, it just appears to me that possibly guys back then did more training volume, and it wasn't as specific either, obviously. But I'm just saying in general that there was possibly more training volume.
I think it was. Sometimes my training sessions went up to 4 hours. But normal was like 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. And, you know, it wasn't too much talking. It was
Working. Yeah.
It was work.
And, you know, a lot of the time, especially, I would take a 1 day just training legs. And that for that kind of time. And I remember the showers were upstairs. And I would really have to hold on to the rails to go up and have a shower afterwards, you know. But that's just how it was, and it paid off.
And how many days a week were we talking? Because I remember when I was speaking with Lawrence Chalet, and he was saying when he was getting after some of the strongest he'd been, it would be 3 to 4 sessions a week. Were you guys in there every day doing something?
I would train at least 5.
5?
I would add a day sometimes for World's Strongest Man, because World's Strongest Man, a lot of times, you know, we would get 20 events. Like, here's what you might see. You know, so you're trying to cover all those events, I'd add a day. But for most regular contests where, you know, we 5 or 6 events, then I'd be 5 days a week. 4 days of regular gym type movements, you know, powerlifting type movements, bodybuilding type stuff, and then a day of event training.
I see, okay.
So
Well,
the
like
old crying in the, it's better to cry in the dojo than to weep on the battlefield kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Lay it all out.
like I said, I didn't have any of the equipment to train on, so most of my training was in the gym. But I would like train like farmers folks. I would take the heaviest dumbbells and walk around in the gym with them, and just do things that would similar. I would do a lot of step-ups to symbolize, truck pull or super yokes or whatnot. And it's just like a lot of volume. Now, I've never had a coach. I coached myself. I figured things out on my own. And just, like I said, it paid off.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of strength athletes live a very solitary life. I mean, that's the reason that one of the things that attract me to strength sports is its solitary existence. I mean, sure, I pump my fist in the air when somebody, runs back an interception for a touchdown or something like that, but they get a lot of support. But a lot of times you have to excel in spite of your circumstances as opposed to having the ability to have all that support.
Sure.
And I think it's a solitary life to be a strength athlete, even with good training partners, because in the end, you step out there on your own. It is unbelievable. It's to get out there. And this is it. You're it.
It seems like we've got a delay happening right now on the field there in the concourse. So we're going to take a pause right now. But before we do that, let's get some final thoughts. Magnus, final thoughts after watching what just went down there with the bull.
Well, it kind of went like I thought. Who is in the lead? That's what I was expecting. I was expecting Tom to get further on with that. But it's proved to be a really tough event. That's no doubt about that.
Jerry?
Extremely tough. And we knew it was going to be tough. And maybe even tougher than we originally thought. We thought with the guide rope, we might see a few guys finish. And, we thought when Mateus went first out and he didn't finish, it was like, was he having a bad day or is it that tough? Well, it's proven to be it's that tough.
Right. Dr. Bill, you've seen a lot of strongmen in your day.
Well, that's the hardest pull I've ever seen. There's just nothing to compare to it. As hard as I thought the Wheel of Pain is, I think this is possibly harder because there's absolutely no give. You've got every step that is the step. There's no momentum. I think this is harder than the Wheel of Pain.
Wow, that's
maybe
saying
it's
something.
the Sled of Pain.
That's saying something. So the Iron Bull is absolutely fantastic, incredible event. Huge, strong, powerful human beings trying to move 1,000 pounds down that rail. That is event number 2. Don't go anywhere. There's going to be more action from not only the Rogue Invitational, but here at the Tailgate Show, and we will see you in just a little bit.
Way too wide.
All right, and we're back. So, don't have a lot of details yet. Don't want to lead anybody astray, but all I know is Trey Mitchell's being treated. We'll get more information on that. We'll fill you in. But right now, we've got Bobby Thompson doing the pull.
What do you think about this stand so far, Magnus? Pretty wide, huh?
No, that does not look like that's going to work for him. But definitely not. I was kind of looking forward to see what Bobby would do because he's so strong
He's strong
and
Hey,
good at so many things.
A little trimmer, more fit now too.
It just goes to show that each implement and each challenge has its own singular way to test an athlete.
This thing was a bruiser.
Wow. This might be the toughest event I've seen in a long time.
This was a battle.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are hurting after this. It took everything out of them. And
this is going to change the scoreboard.
It's
Oh,
still
huge.
another
I mean,
event.
Kielkowski needed this. I mean, after that 0 on deadlift,
Yep.
he had to come back and win one, and, man, he did in big fashion. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the last event, I said I expect Kielkowski to storm back, so I
there you go.
kind of played out.
Yeah.
And honestly, with him starting on this implement, you knew that you're gonna see how this whole event was gonna play out.
And Hooper
right off the
has
bat.
huge points now because now
Huge.
the two guys that beat him in deadlift, now they're at the back of the field now on this. And so
That just put Mitchell.
yeah, he's up in the lead now.
He's singing. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Definitely.
Wow.
And so just trying to do the math in my head, this was such a flip on the event.
Yeah.
Where does Kielkowski find himself in the points? where are the other guys, you know, all those other guys that were in the lead before this, where do they find themselves? Clearly Mitchell finds himself in a spot where he's in a good place.
This is Strongman.
Exactly.
You never gonna know what's gonna happen, and you got your good events, you got your bad events. Of course, it's the best to have pretty good events all around.
Sure.
Right.
But always, if you have one bad event, it's gonna cost you too much. And for Kielikoski to claw himself back up, it's possible.
Yeah.
Looking at that, it's still possible. He can.
Well, especially something like that where your big points after that first event are going to go to the tail.
On your event win,
You know,
this
he
is
has
your
another good
second
event.
career
He's
Rogue
kind of back up in
Invitational
it.
event win. This is the first time, however, that we've seen the Iron Bull. What was the reality of this beast?
Thank you, thank you. It's look much easier than reality pull. It's really, really heavy. I have never pulled so much big weight in my life because it's all time stopping. You must all time moving. It's not like a track pull, like a one move. You must start all time and again. It costs a lot of energy for us.
You had the winning pull, but you still looked a little disappointed at the end of that. Were you happy with this performance?
You know, now I'm happy because I win, but when I finish it, I thought that it's really slow time because always when I do pulling events, I'm go really quick. Also, I can say it's not my 100% because I had worst trip in my life here. Over 48 hours. I had a passport problem, a visa problem, police control, problem with airlines. I came here 1 a.m. at morning, and I sleep 4.5 hours, 5 hours like that, and I'm really tired. You know, I know it's not my 100%.
Thank you so much for your insight, and we look forward to seeing you back out here later today.
Thank you.
What a fantastic, and there's an honest interview. I was not happy. Now that I know that I won, I'm happy.
It was the worst trip of my life.
That's as honest as it absolutely gets. That closes out event number 2. We still have another event coming up later for the Strongman, but that was incredible. The Iron Bull, some closing thoughts. Magnus, what are you walking away with?
Pretty much, it shocked me. That event shocked me. Especially if I'm seeing Kielikoski struggle in it, I'm like, either he's just in a bad form or doing, you know, or it's that tough. Well, it proved to be that tough, and seeing all those guys suffer and you know, I feel for them.
100%.
We've been through it.
Yep.
We know what it is. We know what you're putting out there.
Yes, for sure. And Jerry, as a strongman and fan of craftsmanship and metal fabrication, you know, looking back on the bull here.
Very impressive implement, extremely difficult implement, which just, you know, we got to see. Now, these guys got a couple hours to do everything they can to get some food in, some hydration, and, you know, they got PT with them to get back ready so they can go at this log. You know,
their night's not over.
No, they've still got one more today, so they've got to do everything they can to recover, get their legs back under them, and get hydrated because it's humid today to do these finger in the log medley we got coming up next.
That's another cardio kind of event. So
yeah,
and they need the legs for the drive on the log. So they
gonna
better
be
recover.
Fantastic, Dr. Bill.
Well, you know, we've seen Mateos come back from having a bad deadlift and storm right back. You know, in 2019, 2020, he would actually win all the events except for placing last in the deadlift, and would come back and almost win. So he's still in this. This hunt is not over. Mateos is still in. So if he can continue some of this momentum in the next event, which should be a very good event for him, I think we're going to see him come right back up on top of the leaderboard.
Well, that was event number 2, the Iron Bull. We've got one more tonight for the Strongmen. That does it for my amazing crew here at the desk, but we have event number 3 for CrossFit the Circus coming up soon, so we will see you right back here for more tailgate action.